What's going on, guys? Pegasus from the Wise Guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Guys, Drytron is literally about to drop. I've been talking to you guys about this deck forever. I've also talked about Genesis Impact in general. I think the Live Twins slash Evil Twins are going to be really decent. Majestus is also going to be really dope. Look out for the Meta Tomorrow video that's coming out next week. We're going to have it in some parts of the world next week. I'll have it by next week, hopefully, you know, if the vendor comes through. But guys, there is so much to cover on Drytron that sometimes I feel like there's stuff that I missed in other videos. Shout out to the Meta of Tomorrow video that I made Drytron about 2 or 3 months ago. This time, guys, we wanted to touch on some of the combos that you can do within the deck. As we get closer to the cards actually being in hand, there's been more of a study on some of the cards. Without further ado, it's only so much I can talk about. I'd rather show you. Let's dig in, shall we? So in touching on pretty much all the deck, guys, Zeta and Gamma and Alpha are all the top 3 that you're going to use. You probably want to play 3-3-3 or 3-3-2. Kind of is up to you. It's up to your discretion, but I would 100% play 3 Zeta, and I would 100% play 3 Alpha. Now, obviously, we didn't get Diviner, which, you know, thanks Konami for screwing up something else once again. You know, we're not surprised that much. But the bottom line of what I wanted to touch on in this deck is the sheer power and the sheer amount of versatility within the mechanic of rituals, and outside of that with the rest of some of the cards. We can still do stuff with Link Cross like so many other decks, with Halka like so many other decks. As you see this Metal Marcher combo going off, Croc is actually literally insane. And in being able to make the fusion Trish off of basically having 3 monsters with 3 different names, that is very easy, and I'm talking very, very easy to actually make a VFD. Now, in some of these other things, this is just sheer variety, and shout out to the homies that have helped supply the content. Their description of their YouTube is down in the comments. But basically, with the Alpha, with the Zeta, the 2 primary Drytrons, you can end on insane boards like Dragoon and Winda. Now, obviously, it requires you to play some other stuff. As you saw Kaleidoscope get played, you saw Brionic get played. Yes, you would have to play some more Necros stuff, but that goes without saying. Obviously, guys, this is unlocking the entire mechanic, so you have to pretty much understand that the entire mechanic is able to be at least decently used and decently played within the deck, but you don't necessarily have to play some of this stuff. But if you want to set up a schism, then you probably have to play the Kaleidoscope to launch the cards into the graveyard. Now, in each of these scenarios, again, guys, it's a different combination of 2 cards or 3 card combos, both, and well, it's both, it's more than 2, but they're all ending in Dragoon and Winda, which is, I think that's really, really insane because of the mid-range ability of Schism. Schism eventually is gonna get banned, man. I've always said it's insane to just interrupt somebody with a Winda, and it's just, it doesn't have to be a Shadal card. As you very obviously see, it doesn't even have to be a Shadal deck to be able to abuse a card that is as powerful as Winda. Obviously, it has its drawbacks. Along with the Megalith stuff, again, guys, this is what I meant by the sheer amount of variety within the ritual archetype. If you archetype, it's the entire mechanic. But if you wanted to play Megalith, you can play Megalith. If you wanted to play Herald, you can play Herald. If you wanted to mix the 2, you can mix the 2. That's what I mean by the sheer amount of variety that you can actually use that can cause a different type of board. These boards are creating negates, they're creating pops, they're creating the ability to interrupt your opponent, whereas others, it's just VFD turbo mixed with a protection for VFD being able to resolve, but it also walks in a Nibiru. A lot of these combos, as you can very easily see, they're going to walk directly into Nibiru. It's kind of no way around it. There is somewhat of a way around it because you can very easily, as you saw from that first combo that I showed with VFD, you could basically append it and make Chaos Ruler Omega, and then the rank 9 after VFD gets banned, it could be a floating fortress. And then after that, you could obviously add in something like the Gishki that actually looks at your opponent's hand and rips another card. I forget the name. Fix it down in the comments. Tell me what it is down in the comments. But you guys get what I mean. It's literally that easy to keep pivoting with this deck, which will actually be a pain in your behind if you're playing against this deck. and you're trying to get some info on the deck, you're going to have to be ready for whoever's playing it to be able to pivot in and out of different variants of the deck because it's unlocking an entire mechanic. It's very similar to what Invoke did for fusions. It's obviously what Invoke did for fusions. That's why they created the ritual archetypes version of that, the ritual mechanics version of that. But this is very similar to Pendulum as well, where as soon as Pendulum finally got developed in full, in totality, besides just the Time Gazer and the other BS cards, it actually created something that was pretty spectacular, as you can see. The last little bit of what I wanted to talk about, guys, is the turn skip. I've been talking a lot with this with my friends. Amor Factor Pain is actually insane. The basic ways that you can set this up is either you Auroradon, pop Ariadne, and grab Parthian Shot, which skips your opponent straight to the end phase out of the battle phase. And the More Factor obviously takes away your main phase one. When you combine that with stuff like Grand Horn, when you combine it with stuff like Terminal World, and a card like that, you basically have 9 copies of being able to skip your opponent's turn and basically have an Arcana Force the World type of double up effect. So, guys, this is pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Exactly. And I do mean exactly what I'm talking about when I'm mentioning the mechanic. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments about this deck. Do you think it's going to be rogue? Do you think it's going to be meta? Do you think that the entire ritual mechanic being unlocked is a great thing for the game, a bad thing for the game? And look out for the Magistus meta of tomorrow as it's coming up soon. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. YG, baby.